Truck Talk Media.
C10 Talk, episode 204. Glen Dederick. Who? You'll see. Hold on. Here we go.
I like options, and that was the thing in building race cars. You know, you always had options. You could change angles. You could change the way it handles. With these chassis, it's kind of the same. Like, you have the option of it'll lay frame. It'll go all the way down to the ground. Nothing will bind. And you could take the coilovers off, and, you know, there's room for shock waves. The frame rails are completely sealed, so you could use the frame rails as air tanks. So you don't have a bunch more bulky stuff in the back, so you can still use your bed.
Damn, son.
Let me tell you what Melbourne Coast is packing right here, all right? We've got 411 posi track out back, 750 double pumper, Edelbrock intakes, scored over 30, 11-to-1 pop-up pistons, turbojet, 390 horsepower. We're talking some fucking muscle.
What does that do? Did that blow your mind? That just happened.
Welcome to C10 Talk, your C10 truck podcast.
And now I have a chance to be the best, maybe the best in the world.
My old man is a television repairman. Got this ultimate set of tools. I can fix it.
I said I got 50 cents in that jukebox, and all I can hear is your mouth flapping. You hear that?
Here's your host, Ronnie Wedge.
What's up? What's up? C10 Nation coming at ya. Last episode, 2020. Suck it, 2020. Good riddance. What a year. Hopefully 2021's a little bit better. So, hopefully everybody had a good Christmas, holiday season, and you got what you wanted. You got some truck parts. You hung out with friends and family. You got some good food. And, yeah. 2021's right around the corner. Happy New Year. Happy freaking New Year to everybody. Here's to 2021. Coming at you. Bigger, brighter, better, and a little less bullshit. Hopefully some shows and some cruising. We're going to start off with LST in February. Eastbound and down to the throwdown. So more on that as we get closer. Hopefully there's no problems. And we ended off lucky, right, with Get Down. That was... really, things started kicking up around here, COVID-wise, and man, I just feel like we got it right in that window. So I am thankful for that. I'm thankful that we got to go to LST last year. We got to go to the Get Down, and there was a few shows sprinkled in between that we were able to make. So hopefully 2021's better. We had a very busy year. Looking over all the pod, I cannot believe how many podcasts, essentially like 50. If you look at the live shows where I was going out and some of the bonus shows, it's literally like 50 episodes, where normally I'm doing like 25 to 30-ish. Busy year, which was cool. Now I'm going to do the top show of 2020. So I went through and got the high 10 shows. The shows that don't really count for that are going to be the event coverage, LST, Pro Touring Truck Shootout, Dino's, stuff like that. Those shows do really well, and that's one of the reasons why I love to do them, but I like to talk to all the different people that I get to interact with. You guys obviously like them as well, because they do really well. So I pulled those shows, and I pulled the kind of the Q&A shows. Those were doing well as well. So those were doing well as well. Yeah, well as well. Those shows were doing well as well. But these are individual shows. So it'll be up on our homepage, which is now Truck Talk Media, trucktalkmedia.com. And then hit the C10 Talk tab, and that'll take you to the poll. And there'll be 10 of them there. What did I do with them? I think I had them here somewhere. Yeah, here they are. Okay, so I've got Josh Hart Fab, Mark Giambabo, which is Creative Rod and Customs, Muncie Speed, Jeff Martin, Keith Seymour. That was the number one show. That was the most listened to show for 2020. Keith, to remind you, was factory worker, worked for GM. And we did that one, I believe, back in February, March. And that was by far the most popular show of the year. Nelster comes in there. Big Ten Bowman. Actually, no, I pulled that one. Sorry, Jason, because that was a Q&A one. Who else? Kevin Tates, which is he's the one who sang Aerosmith on the pod and built that wicked C10, that diesel C10. So Kevin, you made the top 10. Airlift, Ride Tech, Truck Hub, and then finishing off with Robbie from UBT. I think that was 10. So it wasn't easy, but like I said, I pulled the event coverage and some of the Q&As that were doing really well. So that's where we're at, 2020, wrapping it up, and just want to thank you guys for all the continued support. We finished 6 years of podding, and now we are into the 7th year of C10 Talk. You know about Truck Talk Media. If you're just tuning in right now, we've got Bronco Talk, OBS Talk, D100 Talk, and F100 Talk. So we've got 5 different pods that we're moving and shaking at all times. So again, we appreciate you guys tuning in and all the support over the years, making it happen, because without you, our listeners, it wouldn't matter, right? If I was podding to nobody, it wouldn't matter. So we appreciate the support and continued support over the last 6+ years. Obviously, our sponsors, we appreciate all the love from them as well. And, just everybody doing what we do. The scene is amazing. We're still blessed. We're still lucky. The C10 movement, the trucks are cool, but you, the people, are cooler. So hopefully you had a great Christmas. You got some truck parts. You're looking forward to 2021. You're getting ready with some killer builds and some, just getting out, hitting the road, having a good time. What else do I have here? Let me look here. I have reviews, so let me get into those real quick, and I'm gonna let you talk to Glenn, or let you listen to Glenn, episode 204. So let me hit some reviews. I got them drummed up here. Please take the time to leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. We enjoy this. I mean, I do. I enjoy that I get to read off the reviews. The love for the pod lets us know how we're doing. If you got a question, a concern, a topic, anything that you think we really need to change things up, an idea, Ronnie at Truck Talk Media, Ronnie at Truck Talk Media, and let me know. Let me know what you're thinking. I don't know what I'll change up for 2021. I would more tech always. Tech is good. Tech seems to do really well. Obviously, I had intentions of bringing more of those in-shop interviews, and those seem to do really well. So I will get back out to those. I can offhand think of a few, which was Grinder, Trey 5, and Johnny G, that I can think of right now off the top of my head, of interviews that I was going to go out to, their shop, sit down, and do the pod. So I'll do that again. I'll get that going again. I enjoy that. More tech, always more tech, and then more videos of the pod when I interact and do the pod, and more videos of us doing what we do out here. Couple reviews. Again, take the time, if you will. Please share it, love it, like it, and leave us a review. A key piece to the C10 culture. 4-Door Phil. Thank you, Phil, for leaving this review. 5 stars. Thank you, Ronnie, for keeping those of us not in SoCal, Arizona truck scene up to date with all the latest news, info, and inspiration. A never miss podcast. Boom. That's a sweet-ass review. Thank you, Phil. I try so hard to keep, the outside world in and the inside world out, and just make sure I'm cognizant and throwing out to you guys all these other rad trucks that are all over. So that you're saying that, I do really appreciate that, because I do try to keep, things that are east of the Mississippi. Obviously, Texas is a big one. We've got the big 3 states, Cali, Arizona, and Texas. I try to keep, everything involved and as much pod as possible on everything going on. Thank you, Phil, for that. Jeff Jones Welding, 5 stars. Love the show, brother. Keep on keeping on. Life's a garden. Dig it. All right. I like that. Dig it. John Oro left me one, which, this is like cheating, because I love me some John Oro. And let's see here. The only pod for me. 5 stars. My favorite pod, hands down. Ronnie covers all the latest relevant and trending topics when it comes to our trucks. He has a finger on the pulse of our scene. I always look forward to interviews with the who's who of GM truck community. John Oro. So thank you, John, for that. And El Presidente leaves your review. That's a big one. So I appreciate that, John. One more real quick. Great for all C10 enthusiasts. Rusty K5, and I met these guys. They're up in Iowa. Rad dudes, working hard on, having fun with this, with the hobby, with the Blazers, and with the trucks. 5 stars. Love the podcast. Extremely informative and great to hear feedback from other builders on what works for them. There you go. Back into the tech. Rusty K5, thank you. I need to really make sure we're getting a lot of tech out there. And then when we do interact with the guests, making sure we're getting good feedback on what they're doing, what's working, so on and so forth. So, All you guys that left me reviews, thank you so much. If you have in the past, again, thank you. It means a lot. And please, if you haven't had the chance to leave us a review, please get on there, whatever format it is. Obviously, those are on iTunes, and that's the big format. But if you can, share the pod, like the pod, love the pod, and leave us a review. All right. Happy New Year. Happy 2021. If you're going out, be safe. Get a driver. Get a C10 driver. Probably not a C10 driver, but get an Uber, get a Lyft, get somebody that can. It's really not worth it. Not worth hurting somebody. Obviously, in my real job, my day job, I've seen a few New Year's wrecks over the years, and just not worth it. So my PSA, public service announcement to you is spend the $40 and get a driver. All right, guys. Happy New Year. Thanks again for all the support. See you back 2021. Looking at the calendar, January 12th. I'm thinking January 12th. I do have a pretty good lineup already. I bet I have at least 8 guys written down that I want to hit it hard in 2021. So we'll be back. All right, guys. Happy New Year. Be safe. Late. All right. What's up, C10 Nation? Taking you out of 2020, episode 204 with Glen Dederick. Glen, race truck, if you will. Found you on YouTube. What's up? Welcome to C10 Talk, my brother.
Hey, man. How you doing? It's great to be on.
Well, we appreciate your time. It's funny how I kind of got exposed to you was Brian Grinder saw your video, and it's kind of a walk around of your truck. So your truck at this point was already done, the truck that we're going to talk about today. And from there, I was like, dude, we got to get you on. And the other thing I noticed right away was how clean your shop is. So it's like a very, very clean shop, rad Squarebody, and shit. And now we're here.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 2,000 square feet, but I like to keep it clean. You know how it goes.
Well, it's immaculate, and I wish mine was clean. That's my goal for, I don't know, the next 2 weeks is to somewhat get caught up and get clean. And the amount of time that I waste trying to find shit, if I could take that time and just compile it into me actually cleaning my shop and my garage and just whatever it is that I'm working on, it would pay back dividends tenfold, because I'm always trying to find something and I'm pissed, and then it's dirty, and then it's this. And yeah, I think once you can finally get ahead, it's got to feel really good, and being organized and knowing where everything's at. And it appears that way, that's how your shop is.
Well, it's an interesting story on this shop, but my old shop in Palm Desert, California, I always kept it pretty clean and organized. But when it came time to build this one, I was like, I just really want to just build it once, and I want it how I want it, and I want it, the floor is nice, and even with nice floors, it's easier to keep clean because you just blow it out with a weed blower. And it is dusty and dirty up here because I am up in the high desert, kind of in the middle of nowhere, and it is a little bit pain to to keep the dust and horse poop and stuff like that blown out and stuff, because we got 5 horses here. But it's pretty easy to keep it clean, and I just how I've always worked. It's how my dad taught me, and my stepdad. And if you like I said, you got to waste a bunch of time finding tools, that's time to be working.
Yeah, and that's how I feel. Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Landers, California, right next to the 29 Palms Marine Base. So if you hear some shit blowing up or the building rattling, sometimes that's them. They've been out blowing shit up all morning.
So give me a better, like a couple bigger cities for reference point from somebody, back east, and honestly, even me. I've heard of 29 Palms. I think we go by that when we're like out of Indio, and then I know there's a sign somewhere right there where 29 Palms, but would Indio be the closest biggest city, or whereabouts are you?
Palm Springs, I'm about 45 minutes from Palm Springs. Right down the hills, Yucca Valley, and then you got the Joshua Tree National Monument right here. And then I'm right below Big Bear, so I'm only about 30 minutes from Big Bear. So I'm kind of like you're down in the desert, and you got Big Bear above me. So I'm kind of like right in the middle. We're about 3,000 feet. It almost snowed here last night.
And then I talked to you too, and you were up in Parker. So for the audience, Parker, Lake Havasu, some of those lake cities. So that's pretty easy for you to get up to Parker from 29 Palms.
Yeah, you just take Highway 62 right here, straight to Parker, straight to I go to Black Meadows, Black Meadows Landing on Havasu on the California side, and that's kind of where we spend our weekends pretty much all the time.
Well, tell us a little bit who Glen is and how you got into building rad shit. Who's Glen Dederick?
Well, it's just a painfully average guy, really.
Painfully? Why does that have to be painfully? It looks like you live in pain-free. That beautiful shop up to Parker. You got a good plan, so I'm digging it. So, yeah, tell us who
It's a lot of hard work to be painfully average, let me tell you.
You make it look easy.
Yeah, sometimes, just, I kind of, as a kid, my dad was a race car driver. He had his C10s, and, growing up, I always wanted to be a race car driver. And so, but he passed away kind of early. So I had to just kind of wait a few years and handle that all on my own. And then I built my first race car when I was like 23. They opened up a dirt track. So my philosophy then was buy the tools to keep building the cars and build parts for it versus just buy the stuff, wreck it, and then I'm out money. So I figured buy tools. So that's kind of what I've been doing over the years, is collecting tools and building race cars, as a hobby. I went to Texas A&M to be a lineman. I was a journeyman lineman. So I got hurt twice. I fell 39 feet off a power pole and landed standing up. So that hurt. And then had my right hand crushed, which I got, half the feeling in my hand. So TIG welding's kind of been I was pretty good at it, and that happened. And, it's just every now and then it goes numb. You drop your tungsten. And so I kind of gave up on that a little bit. I just MIG weld all the time now. And I needed something to do after I stopped being a lineman. So I opened up a fabrication shop with the tools I had at the time, and then just kept building it and socking my money away and buying more and more bigger and better tools. And then, just building dumb shit. And then, I was kind of done racing, but I was like, I need a shop truck. I got a lot of leftover race car parts, and there's always like parts I wanted on my race cars that we couldn't have that I could put into my truck that I wanted, like the quick changer in. So I just started, collecting a bunch of stuff to build my truck. And then my buddy Scott Chaplin, he had me build a silver one right here. So I was like, all right, it's a perfect guinea pig. So I just kind of laid out the chassis on that and kind of went from there. And got his done. And then it was time for mine. So I busted mine out real quick. I had all the parts. So, that's just kind of how I work. I just gather up my stuff and get it done. He's almost 2 years into his, and it's barely at my shop, just getting squared out. It's not even close to being done yet. And I've been driving mine for a year.
Well, I get the painfully average now that you explain why you fell or that you fell 39 feet and then you crushed your right hand. So maybe that's where the pain comes in, part of the painfully average. Do you miss being a lineman? I always thought being a lineman would be a really cool job.
I do. I miss it a lot. I miss my old boss, Rigo Rodriguez, who was, and a couple guys, Scooter, Albert, those guys kind of just took me under the wing and kept me safe for years. I was a lineman for like 12 years. And I really, I do. Like, I talk to my old foreman all the time. We're buddies. We still hang out.
So going to school in Texas, were you a lineman out there or were you a lineman in Cali?
California. We went to Texas A&M to get all our schooling done and everything.
Cool. All right. So how did you get to the skill set? So your dad passes away. You always wanted to race. You started racing. You started building. You jumped up to 23. There had to be a time there where you became somebody who had the skills, the craft to do what you're doing. Were you self-taught? Did you learn a little bit here, a little bit there? How'd you get to be a fabricator?
Pretty much self-taught. But I always took my time and looked into everything. Like when, before I started building my first race car, I bought 2 books, and read the books first before I started so I could learn about geometry and safety and everything that goes into it and setting up a dirt car and building a dirt car. And then, I've kept reading books, and my newest one, I got Max Fish's book over here on rear suspension. And I'm looking at building another chassis for the blue truck. So we're kind of toying with that. I just started, a lot of trial and error, like I've built numerous race cars, but every one's been different. I've always tried to make them better and better and better. So kind of like with these chassis, I've been slowly adding new features and doing something better or something, designing a little bit better as I go. So I'm not, just making the same boring thing.
There's so many different chassis companies out there for C10. When you built your C10 chassis, were you thinking race truck, race car? Were you thinking universal? Were you thinking, jack of many? What were you thinking? Because it seems like it's light, it's coil over, it's 4-link, if not even 5-link. So it's a very versatile chassis from what I've been able to kind of see.
Yeah, when I kind of started this, is like I like options, and that was the thing in building race cars. You always had options. You could change angles, you could change the way it handles. With these chassis, it's kind of the same. Like you have the option of it'll lay frame, it'll go all the way down to the ground, nothing will bind, and you could take the coilovers off, and there's room for shock waves. The frame rails are completely sealed, so you could use the frame rails as air tanks. So you don't have a bunch more bulky stuff in the back, so you can still use your bed. My truck is a 5-link, and it's just what I knew. It's race car geometry and suspension, and it's kind of designed around 80s Camaro geometry on the front. So my truck handles like a car. I even let Zach from the Hoonigans drive it. He was just like, bright-eyed Google. He was like, dang, we loved it. We took it out on the freeway and farted around with it, brought it back in, and he was just smiles the whole time.
You talked about the Camaro front end, and on your Hoonigan video, you talked about the Camaro stuff being cheaper, which I thought was crazy because C10 stuff is obviously cheap. It's abundant. You can get it at AutoZone, Napa, wherever, and you'll have it that day or the next day. We're spoiled that way, but maybe we need to be looking into the Camaro stuff.
Well, what I mean by like Camaro stuff's cheaper. So when you go to get like performance parts, quicker steering ratio boxes and center links and tie rods and stuff like that, anytime you put C10 in front of it, it's just expensive, that I've noticed. All these guys spending. There's pictures of guys on the Instagram that got kind of like clapped out trucks, and they're like, oh, this is what 20 grand looks like. And I'm like, bah, you got fucking hosed.
So maybe from the performance perspective, we need to just be looking at Camaro stuff because they know C10s are hot, and maybe that's the C10 tax. Honestly, I don't know. I just saw your video and think, man, maybe there's something here where it's the same part or close to it. GM, we all know there's a lot of adaptability there, and maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe it's like, hey, the C10s are hot as shit.
Well, from a race car point of view, that's the suspension that I'm used to. So like all my cars were built around that. C10 trucks, they're kind of not even really close to Camaro stuff. But when I designed the front clip of this thing, I did it off Camaro geometry as far as, caster camber gain, anti-dive, and the angles of everything. So that's built into the truck. So into the chassis, like nothing from C10 will bolt to that chassis. One of the things I toyed around with doing, and I was talking with Max Fish, was kind of making a affordable chassis for guys. Yeah, you talk about all these chassis companies out there, and then like, oh, you can buy a front clip from these guys, a rear clip from these guys. We got $17,000 in the chassis right now, but the center section of it's still, just a Chevy truck. So you got 3 pieces there. So I thought, manufacturing, an affordable full chassis that either you can make your own parts for as far as uppers and lowers, or you could go down to the junkyard and pick up some Camaro stuff and plug it right in, bolt right in, and you're ready to go. Just kind of an affordable starter kit for guys that, want to build up their own truck, but have good handling geometry, because like autocross is getting crazy. I mean, everybody's like, you seen Gabe in his truck, he's just having a blast in that thing. So all these guys putting all this effort and all this money into getting these trucks to handle more like cars. They don't got all the damn chassis roll and high roll center and stuff like that. So it was just kind of an affordable option I thought about making. I was gonna make one at the beginning of the year and take it down to Pomona, and just sit down there at the swap meet, see if anybody bid. But then they canceled everything. So
yeah. So he talked about Gabe. That's Gabe Franco. He was on the pod. I'm going to go just 10, so 193 or something like that. Is the Camaro, I'm assuming the Camaro frame rails are narrower then? So is your truck narrower? What's the width comparison to a Chevy truck versus a Camaro?
They're similar. I mean, they're right on, because you could they're 34 inches wide, outside to outside. I just kind of picked a generic, a baseline down the center that tied into the Camaro geometry and lined up with the back of the truck as far as mounting the bed and everything.
Kind of where I'm getting that from is where guys will take like an advanced design or a task force and they'll cut that front clip, put, a Camaro front clip on there, and the way that they're morphing that in together and interlinking the frame rails, and then, putting a Camaro front end or whatever. It seems like Camaros are the most common. And then what Camaro parts are you talking about? So are you talking, what year? Second gen, third gen, fourth gen?
Second gen. From 78 to like 81. Seemed to be like, was the best handling cars at the time, because back then, they're on all the road courses, they're circle track, they're everywhere. So like I said, when it's like cheaper to get like Camaro parts versus C10. So if you go to buy, tubular up and control arms for say an 80s Camaro, it's half the price of a C10, for all that stuff. And they're, the spindles are cheaper. You can get Western drop spindles. That's what I use on everything. It was just an idea I had, because I was just so used to it. So I was like, I'm going to incorporate it into my truck, because I like the way my race cars handle, and I want my truck to handle like that. Because, I've had, my first vehicle was an 81 GMC step side. And, I lowered it down. I was the only guy in Ely, Nevada that had a lowered truck. Everybody else lifted theirs because of snow and all the other stuff. And it's just always so bulky. And I used to drive it down to Vegas, and, going through the twists and turns, it's fucking rolling everywhere. And I get home, I'm driving in my race cars, or I'm driving all weekend, in Vegas at the driving school. I just wanted my truck to handle like that. So when I built this one, that's just kind of what I had in mind.
So were you thinking the whole time you wanted a C10? You're like, hey, my next build's going to be a C10, and then you just happen to have that cab around? Or kind of walk us through the build process and how you ended up with your truck. And does your truck have a name?
It's called the work truck.
All right, the work truck. So when you sat down, you're like, okay, I'm getting ready to build my next truck, the work truck. Did you know, hey, C10, I like this cab, I like this body style, I had an 81, I want that same style?
C10 Nation, let me tell you about my buddies Travis, his dad Jack, a.k.a. Dad. They run Pro Performance, AZ Pro Performance. They're active in our community. They're C10 guys. They're always working on new stuff, like their new suspension line, React Suspension. They're master dealers for Dakota Digital, Bear, Boyd Welding, Vintage Air, and many more. They're C10 specialists and stock many fast-moving products backed by their stellar customer service. Not only do they sell C10 parts, but they live and breathe C10s and are very active in our community. Like I said, look for them at your next truck show. And they want to talk to you and help you out with your C10 project. Follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and you can also check out their Facebook group called C10 Addiction. So check them out and let them know that I sent you. Marquet has been in business for over 40 years. It all started in the original owner's garage. From humble beginnings of a couple parts in a garage to a 2-building manufacturing facility making over 6,000 parts, Marquet has grown to be one of the country's premier truck parts manufacturers. They not only design the products, but also design the tooling to build the products, guaranteeing quality control. They have made their original parts from the original trucks. Aluminum strips are double polished, creating a mirror finish, and crystal clear anodized. They use the highest quality, hand-selected show quality wood that will hold up over time. Why? Because it's kiln dried to precision moisture levels specifically for Marquet. They stock oak, pine, and mini exotics, guaranteeing extremely fast delivery. All parts are manufactured in-house in Oklahoma City, USA. They offer quality parts built by Americans for old American-made trucks. So when you're looking for body moldings, bed strips, bed wood, and so much more, think Marquet. That's mar-k.com.
Yeah, I mean, my dad had it was a 69 or 70 C10 1-ton flatbed because he owned a heavy equipment company. So, he's always throwing stuff up there, always throwing, heavy equipment and hydraulic rams. And then he also had a 73 C10 and a flatbed, for the same purpose. So when I got my first C10 back in 96 in Ely, Nevada. That was when I was able to afford my first car, really, because down here in the desert, I was riding a bike. I was riding a bicycle, going to school, working 3 jobs, and just barely getting by out here. So when I moved up to Ely, obviously I needed a car, saved up some money, and bought that truck. And I like the square bodies. I'm just so used to it. I was thinking about going like maybe a 69, 70. And I had a conversation, a friend of mine, Brett Oakes, and he's like, "Oh man, you got to go square body." And I was like, "Yeah, but I had a square body." He's like, "Trust me, you want to go square body." So I kicked it around for about a month. Then I started coming across square bodies. And I was like, and I kind of just, I want a square body.
Cool.
I want to go back to that, my old truck I used to have. So
is that was your first in 81? That was your first car or first truck?
Yeah, that was my first vehicle. $1,500 is what I bought it for. And then dumb mistake, being young, because I was working in Vegas, driving back and forth. And I kind of needed something with AC. So, one weekend I came back pissed off because I was pouring sweat and shit. I came back to Ely and I was like, fuck it, I need a new truck. So I went and bought a brand new Ford, traded the C10 in for it. They gave me like $1,000.
Brand new?
Yeah, 4-wheel drive. It was 97 when the new body styles came out. But yeah, I needed something 4-wheel drive, some heat and air, because that thing didn't have AC. Didn't even come with it. Had a straight 6. And I needed something just a little bit more reliable. It was a 3-hour drive from Ely to Vegas one way. And I was working down there every weekend at the driving school. I was a driving instructor at Richard Petty Driving School.
So what were you doing during the week? If you were working down there, what was your job during the week?
I worked for Budweiser, and I worked for a company called Norco, delivering welding and safety supplies. And that's kind of where I started getting my first, welding equipment was through them when I decided to build my first car.
So you're slinging beer during the week and then slinging welding gas during the week and then go to driver's school on the weekend?
Well, I was at Budweiser for a couple years. Then I went to Norco for a couple years.
So not simultaneously.
No. I just kind of had to keep going where the money was because, obviously I wanted cool shit.
Yeah. Whoever's going to pay you more, move on to the next job. I mean, we all had that job where you just need a job and then you're like, okay, I want to up this job. I want to get a better job, more money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was the thing, It's just like, if you want race cars and you want to do cool shit, you got to make money.
So how was the cab when you started, or was your truck complete, the truck that you found for the work truck?
Well, I found 3 actually. So the 73 and the 81, and I also got an 82 out here, and they're all kind of mixed up in between Scott's truck and my truck.
Sounds like your truck should be called the Mutt, bro.
Pretty much. I mean, it's got some 73 parts. It's got 81 parts. It's got 82 parts. It almost had a 91 front clip. But I said, no, I want to go the single headlight. But yeah, it's just kind of, everybody plays the game, you try to dodge that registration type deal. You got to, I got a 73 cab. He's got a 74 cab. The other chassis I'm building right now, that one's getting a 74 cab. So, I want the 81 front clip look, but the Dodge, smog. You got to
So for the audience, I'm sure we've talked about, I know we have, but 75 and older, you dodge smog in Cali. So you don't have to deal with it. Here in Arizona, it's actually 66, but we're a lot less restrictive. So you can still run something older and get through. But 66, you're exempt here in AZ. And then I know Cali guys, and that's a big deal for the price point of a vehicle. Is like, hey, if it's a 76 or newer, then, it's not as desirable in Cali. But obviously, guys are swooping up the 75 and older. And another little secret is if it's a diesel. So if you found an 81, 82 diesel in Cali, then you could get away with it for at least for a little while longer until they change some other shit over there. I don't know. But
I got an 82 sitting out here. I swooped that up in a heartbeat. I picked that up for like $1,200.
A diesel cab?
Yeah, decent. Yeah. It was nice, no rust, 82 with a 6.2 in it.
So they're just running the VIN. So for the audience, again, they're just running the VIN and they're saying, all right, cool. And I don't think the guys at the DMV or the smog place really give two shits either. They probably have so many people lined up. They're just like, all right, think 74, go through. All right, 82 diesel, so I'm sure those 82 diesel cabs are worth a little bit more money. But so you've got a few different trucks incorporated into your truck. Now, Scott's truck, I do have some notes like, holy crap, because I can see the truck in a few of your pictures. I know nothing about the truck. Did he commission you to build the truck completely, the chassis, or where did that truck come from?
He had me build him the chassis. I gave him the cab. I sold him the cab with the chassis, so he had something to register. And the front suspension, the forward 9-inch in the rear. It was a Speedway Motors one intended for a stock car. So we just cut some mounts and remade mounts for it. And built him the rolling chassis for it with the cab.
That was the chassis? It was a Speedway chassis, and then you modified it? Or what did
the rear end.
Okay.
Because it was designed for a metric car. So it had metric car mounts on it. And I just had it laying around from my stock car years. I got a couple Connexes full of old stock car parts. So I ended up selling him the bed off the 81 that I picked up from Joe Gonzalez, which is I'm using the front clip on mine. And then he went and got a 73 front clip. It's got he put an LS3 in it, all aluminum LS3. He bit the bullet and bought one from Turnkey for Kobe. I haven't sacked up and just went not really sacked up, I guess, sold out and went the LS route.
Well, you did go with a 383, went with a small block. What was your thoughts on that for your truck? So LS3 is what Scott has in his truck, and then your truck has a 383. Did you build that motor? Is that a motor you had laying around? And then were you just like, hey, I'm gonna keep it simple and just go small block?
Yeah, I had a lot of the parts. I was toying with a 377 or 383, but my engine builder out in Glendora, Bill Shoemaker, he's built all my race motors for years. He's like, hey, truck, go with the 383. So I had some cast iron world heads, we used on stock cars, and I had the blocks, and we just ended up getting bottom end kit for it, forged pistons. We went with dish pistons to bring it down to like 10.5 to 1, so I could still run it on 91 octane. It's got a lot of horsepower. What's killing me is a 700R. I'm about ready to junk that thing.
Just because it's the wink link, or why?
It loses so much power and rotating mass. And when I put the small torque converter on it too, then the tranny temps are hot as shit all the time. So
so what will you put? What would you prefer to run? Like a 5-speed auto?
I don't know. I would have to change the motor because Jeff Callahan, the guy I'm building the third chassis for, he went with a 6-speed sequential. That fucking transmission's awesome. So I was kind of toying with that, and I'm not sure if it will bolt up. I think you can. I think it will bolt up with using a different bell housing to a small block. If it does, I might go that route. I know it's taken a while to get the sequential set up from the guys in Australia for the top. We're still waiting on his. But that was kind of like an option. Like just kind of, but I built it to cruise too. I built it to drive. I want reliability. But I could tune a carburetor, so I'm not too.
Yeah, I'm surprised that a race car guy has an automatic, in there, and versus like a 5-speed or Tremec or something like that, TR660 or something like that.
Well, our dirt cars, we ran power glides, but we ran direct drive power glides, so there was no torque converter. We used a TCI circlematic valve body that you put it in first and it bleeds off using Holley carburetor jets. So you could tune how much it bleeds off and how hard it hits, going into reverse and first. But once you put it in drive, it's just direct drive. And that was almost like an instant 100 horsepower right to the rear wheels. I mean, the first time I put one in, it was I had a 78 Nova, my first race car. I put that fucker in there and I got on the turn coming out of turn 2, and it ripped the welds right off the spring perches, the stock welds. Just wrapped my rear end up and, destroyed everything. So I had to start back over. But yeah, I mean, I love the power glide with no torque converter. Obviously, you can't do it in this truck, but and driving trucks, you're there for years too. I kind of just got tired of shifting. So.
Oh yeah, I'm getting old. Sometimes shifting, I'm like, man, it's so nice not having to shift all the time. But
especially in California.
Oh yeah, backed up. So one of the things that you did, and it sets your truck apart without a doubt. If you had a regular step or fleet side bed on that truck, people wouldn't even look twice at it. Sorry, they wouldn't. I mean, the other thing I really dig about your truck is the wheels. I think it gives it that race truck look. But you've got an 81 square body, slope nose. It's the flatbed. It's the racks. It's the work truck. If you didn't do that, it'd be run of the mill. I mean, until we really got to see it, because it is a race truck. Sorry. What was your thoughts on that?
I mean, well, because all my dad's trucks were flatbeds, and I just missed the look of it. I like the look of it, and I own a fab shop, and I deliver stuff. So, and sometimes I got to run down, pick up some steel real quick. They're already out delivering, so I missed delivery, so I have to run down. So that was kind of the point behind it, having the rack on it, so I could, pick up full 20-foot lengths of steel, and be able to, make shit and deliver it, just throw it there on the back, which I have. I put that Trex decking wood in the back, so it takes a little bit more of a beating. But I use it. Not so much here in my new shop that I'd like to, but, purpose built for my old shop, and I was planning on using the shit out of it. And every chance I get, I use it.
I want you to do me a favor. When you race it, whether it's autocross or straightaway, whatever it is, I want an orange cooler on there. I want 2 to 3 extension cords, somehow somewhat secured. I want a beat up old ladder, maybe a 6-footer, maybe 8, whatever will fit, real nice and comfortable. Some PVC would be perfect on the top, and then maybe like a toolbox. You need all that on there, and then literally like you just came from the job site, the painfully ordinary job site, and then you're just freaking kicking ass and taking names with the work truck, and shit's flying, freaking the cables are flying, flopping, you know what I mean? And yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. I think that's a good plan. That's my suggestion. I hope you do that.
I mean, if they'd let me, I'll strap some ladders on it, do what I got to do.
It's a fixture. It's part of the truck, man.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, I've we're out there at Fontana and stuff, and I got some interesting looks. They hear it coming, they see it coming, and then it gets up close and like, what the fuck is that? And they're like, this guy think he's gonna run it on the track? Yeah. Yeah. They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's even cooler. That's why, because when you look at the truck, it's very unsuspecting.
Right. And to be honest, it will fit a stock bed. And people give me shit. They're like, oh, maybe you could sell that thing if you had a regular bed on it. Oh, I don't want to buy that. I don't want a flat bed. Well, fuck you then. You can put a regular bed on it if you want.
Yeah, exactly. It's not your truck, so you can eat a dick.
Yeah. It's not, it's a regular bed doesn't make that truck. It's everything underneath it.
Yeah, exactly. Another really cool thing. Well, exactly. Yeah, you can see all of it. You've got it all exposed right there. So you've got the quick change rear end. That's very unique and something that you can dive under and check it out. I really dig the way you talked about it a little earlier about options and how you thought about all this other stuff where it's like quick change is the cage and the mountability of how from the Hoonigan video, they walk through it and you can see how you thought about all that. Is that something you're going to do on more of your chassis? Is that something you just kind of were toying with this one? You're like, hey, fuck it. I want to have a good time here and figure this out. And I don't want to go back and do this shit later.
Well, every one of my chassis all has cage mounts. And whether we put it in just cab, but we did it with Scott's truck. I did it with this. I got this 1966 Toyota Stout. I was building for a customer with the 1JZ in it, making sure it's cage ready down the road. You want to do that stuff because I want to keep the frame rails, solids, use air tanks. So you go drill it later on down the road, put that stuff in. It's like, well, they're not in the way. So go ahead and have it now. I mean, if, I'm perfectly fine with the bolt-in cage, with those strong, solid locks.
Yeah, but you even went through like the A-post, right? And the dash, you've got holes already ready to go.
Yeah.
So that's coming through for the audience, your bright pedal or all the way to your kicks coming through the floor there. And you guys, obviously, I would highly encourage you to go check out the Hoonigan video. This podcast won't do the truck justice. And then you've got the low light video coming out too. And you've got Glenn does a walk around on his own channel. So you've got plenty of options on the YouTubes with Hoonigan, who's going to, completely do everything. They do a little burnout. You've got your little channel where you walk through, and then you've got, low life coming out. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So you've thought about all this stuff. You've got the mounts there. And then I think the biggest asterisk of the whole thing is not even the bed. It's got an easy-go golf cart steering column. Are you kidding me? I was like, what? So walk us through that. A golf cart steering column and steering wheel?
Hey, guys, I have Andrew from Painless on. Andrew, our guys are thinking about rewiring their truck. Why should they choose Painless Performance?
Well, Ronnie, we've been doing it 30 years now. We're American-made, American proud. We have unmatched tech support. You'll get one of our guys right here in Fort Worth, Texas, if you have a call. And, our installation manual is full color and covers everything you need to know.
You guys offer a ton of different varieties. Break that down a little bit for us.
Yeah, so we cover everything from 63 to 87, specific C10 harnesses. It'll be, a little more plug and play for kind of a stock or lightly modified truck. But then for those real radical, smooth firewall, air ride, crazy builds, we have the Pro Series. It'll have all the connectors, terminals, everything you need, but you can custom fit it, hide the wiring, and build it to your build.
There you go, guys. You get rid of that 40-plus-year-old wiring. You get easy-to-read printed wiring. Painlessperformance.com. They've got you covered if you want to go OG Classic or if you want to go something customized. Thanks, Andrew. Painlessperformance.com. Hey, guys. I've got Kathy White, Classic Performance Products, CPP on the line. Kathy, how's it going?
Hey, Ronnie. What's up?
What's up? What's new?
We've got a ton of things for the C10 community. First things first, our 2.5-inch Extreme X10 drop spindle. So we've upgraded the current modular spindle to modern technology. This new X10 spindle is a one-piece forged, but it utilizes strong, modern, bolt-in, internally sealed bearing hub assembly. So it's low maintenance. It doesn't move the wheels out, and you can use big brakes from us or any aftermarket big brakes out there in the market.
That's awesome. What else is new?
So we have actually gone back and redesigned our aluminum fuel tanks. As you know, our fuel tanks are the thickest, strongest, and largest capacity in the industry. But now you can actually use the same tank for either a carbureted or a fuel injection application. 63 to 72, it's 20 gallons, and for 73 and newer, 22-gallon capacity.
How about that coilover kit? You guys must be killing it with that thing.
That is such a great kit. It's fully bolt-on. It's easy to install. Strongest tubular arms in the market, available with either upper and lower or just the lowers or just a coilover kit by themselves. All the mounting brackets that you need, and it also comes with dual adjustable coilover shocks. So it's really responsive. It's up to you however you want to tune the compression or the rebound. It's perfect if you're just cruising on the streets, and it's proven on the track.
Well, that's what we like. So if you need spindles, the new X10, fuel tanks, coilovers, they've got it. Classic Performance Products, CPP. And don't forget, use code C10TALK, C10TALK at checkout and save 10%. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you, Ronnie.
A golf cart steering column and steering wheel? Do I remember that correct?
Steering wheel, no.
No, not the steering wheel. So you've got
just
this,
the column.
Just the column.
So yeah, people were giving me shit over that because it's an easy go, but it's a I did it steering column. So
I did it makes it for easy go.
Yeah, they make them for golf carts too.
Okay. That gives it a little bit of. I feel a little bit better about it.
Well, the thing about it is when you punch through, through the firewall, the how much farther the steering column sticks out past the firewall, and then to get that shaft turned over that quick to get to like a stock Camaro box, which is on the inside of the rail, not the outside. So that was the shortest. That was the shortest steering column I could find. That would put the splines right at the firewall to give me a better angle, so I had no binds. And it's still I did it steering column with turn signals and hazard and tilt and everything else. It just has no key, which I didn't want a key.
Yeah, it's perfect. I think you're onto something there. The steering box or the box, the Camaro box on the inside of the frame rails, that was something they talked about. What was your thoughts on that over rack and pinion? Take us on. I mean, somebody that with your experience in racing, obviously you've got the truck box on the outside, Camaro on the inside, or rack and pinion. What was your thoughts on steering selection?
I liked it because of my choice of gear ratio. So I'm running a 10-to-1 box on my truck. I'm running a sweet 10-to-1 box. So my steering ratio is quick. As far as going a rack and pinion, which I am doing on Jeff's truck, you gotta modify. You gotta make another center link to get your geometry right, your links right. Because one of the purposes of helping your bump steer is keeping the pivot points on your steering links the same as your lower control arm. So stock Camaro 17 and a half, and you want to keep your steering link off your center link. You want to keep that 17 and a half too. So as that thing's going up and down, your wheel's not twisting in and out and stuff.
Sounds like the horses are all fired up over there.
Yeah, my wife's actually loading 2 of them up to go to get their teeth floated. So I might have to shut the garage door. Noisy fuckers.
Yeah. We've got 2 horsepower. He's got 2 horsepower, and then he's got, I guess, probably 400 plus in the truck. What is the horsepower of your truck?
565.
Wow, out of a 383?
It's fully roller.
565?
565.
What's the torque?
what was the torque? I think it was 47 on the dyno. I wish I could get all that to the wheels. I'm losing a lot of it in the automatic transmission. I think it was built to 47. Because they got a dyno right there at the shop.
The guy that built the motor?
Yeah, Bill Shoemaker. So I'm using, and it's all cast iron too. So I'm using World Products cast iron heads, fully roller. It's a huge cam in that fucker.
I think that's where the race car guys, like, it's not a big deal to spend that kind of money on the power plant. Whereas you probably saved a lot of money on the truck overall. You did all the work. You built the chassis. It's got some really cool features. But when you think about the power plant and then your next power plant, if you do decide to take that leap, go LS, whatever, what does a motor like that run?
Well, the one that we're putting in Jeff's C10, he's going to LSX, the 454. And from turnkey, that whole package with clutch, all that stuff is like $22,000, just to buy. Where I probably spent $6,000 on mine, including the March, serpentine belt kit, stuff like that. Because I had the blocks, I had the heads, I had a lot of the parts. And that's just me collecting race car parts over the years from all the different stuff I've done. Like I said, I got a Connex. Well, I still got like 2 motors sitting there in the Connex, to build. I got some good old stock heads, Feelies and Camelbacks, the old timer sawed off stuff.
All the good stuff.
Yeah, and now they're letting guys run aluminum heads in some of the classes and stuff like that. So that some of that stuff's getting kind of antiquated. I've been meaning to take it down to Pomona and get rid of it, and I just never kind of get the time to gather it all up and go.
Well, and like you said, they're not really having it. So until they start opening it back up, some of that stuff, and then once they become less desirable. Right now, everybody wants that stuff, or at least it seems like they still do want. People, those old timers, they look for those heads.
Well, the Long Beach is still going. I went to that once. And I met up with some friends and went down to where we go, Newport, I think, for a quick little afternoon car show. But if I go LS, I'm going to go that LSX, that 454. That thing's awesome.
Would you put that in your truck, in the work truck, or is it something where you would build another truck?
I'd put it in the work truck. And I was toying around with there for a while too about building another truck. I've been looking for 73 to 75 step side to build it with my boy, and when he turns 16, let him have it. But he helps me a lot here in the shop, and he's learned a lot. He's only 12. All the stuff that I wanted to learn and do with my dad and stuff when I was young, but he was sick with cancer, so it was just me taking care of him. So a bunch of stuff I didn't get to do that I'm doing with my stepson Bryson. To see him in the low life video, he's kind of funny. He's kind of, hi, my name's Bryson. I help my stepdad here in the shop. I play video games, help him when he needs it.
Cool. Sounds like a typical kid. And really, like you said, the not only the tools that you bought, but then the know-how, and he gets exposed to that. And he may never even realize it until he gets to be older that, like you said, with your dad, it's like, dude, I had it good, man,
Oh, yeah. He's got his own tool set over there, got him all his own tools. Like Christmas, he got a bike, but I left it in the box. He can put it together. He got his own.
Santa didn't have time to put your shit together, Bryson, okay?
No, man.
That. He's busy.
Yeah, he had a bounce.
Yeah, he had a bounce. He had a lot of other kids to see, and he knew that you could do it. So get your ass out there.
Right. Yeah. And that's been kind of fun with him. He looks 30, but he's 12.
Wow, damn, big kid or what?
Yeah, his dad was a big goober, so but I've trained him well. Like he can drive any of the trucks. He can go hook up the trailers. He can back it up to the shop. Anything I ask him to do, hey, go hook up to the trash trailer, get it ready to go to the dump. Run out there, fire up the truck, go hook it up, back it up. Good kid.
That's a whole side note. I mean, if you think about it, growing up in the country, we treat kids that are 12 or 14, and what you can do when you have to out in the old school, it's like, hey, you can do it. They grow up a little quicker versus, sitting in their room all day on video games. But I'm dealing with an 18-year-old who can do a lot of that stuff too. I'm amazed at his ability, but he's on those video games a lot, like way too much. So enough to.
Well, with me as a kid, between like 8 and 10, my dad was out on these back roads out here, Desert Hot Springs and stuff, letting me drive his C10s. So, that was fun. And I kind of do the same thing with Bryson. He hasn't got to drive the work truck yet. That day might come. We'll see.
Well, it's going to come, especially you're going to buy him a 73.45 stepper. He's going to be ready.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I want to build. He doesn't know what's going to be for him.
Sure.
It's just kind of what my plans are. Right now he thinks he's getting that 82 diesel out there at the moment. So, he works, he saves up his money because I always show him how much parts cost.
All right, guys, technical difficulties when you live out in the boonies. The good thing is when you're a kid, you get to drive shit, do shit you wouldn't normally be able to do, but your stepdad has shitty internet. So we got Glenn back. He had to go inside the house, leave the shop, and the things we do for you guys out there so you can actually hear what the hell we're saying. Okay, I don't even remember where we're talking. We're talking about motors and trucks and building rad step-side trucks for your stepson and Bryson in the video. What's next? So you've got, a few trucks that you're building in the shop for customers, friends. You've got your truck. What's next? What's on the bucket list for Glenn?
Honestly, fucking get out of 2020 and be able to get parts again. Getting parts has been a bitch. Especially with that Toyota, the 66 Toyota, because I had to go back to the drawing board on that one as far as suspension wise. He thought, my stuff was going to be able to fit under there, but it didn't. So I just kind of had to start from scratch, design a whole new suspension for it with that one JZ in there. And it's old pans right in the way. So I want to get parts. Parts has been a bitch. I mean, so far I've had good luck with Jeff's. I just started that one like about 3 weeks ago. And I'm just waiting on, he ordered a whole new bed. So we're just waiting on the floor. But next, I mean, I hadn't really thought about, marketing and, building chassis and commercializing it. I just kind of do it as people want it and I kind of tailor it to fit. So everyone's kind of a little different. So like the difference between my truck and Scott's truck, he's running the LS, I'm running the small block. So the small block, even with the big race car oil pan on it, sits about level with the tranny pan. So I was able to get my engine and tranny down lower and farther back to help balance the truck out. And I can get my cab lower down on the frame. Where Scott's, like ours look like they're sitting the same height right now, but his frame's like, it's not at right height yet. It's like 2 inches lower than mine. We still got to bring it up. So that's kind of the one drawback between the LS and the small block when doing these chassis, and being able to have something that can lay frame but still clear everything. Because I got like a 1/4 inch gap between my tranny pan and the frame. So if they lay down, I just miss it just barely. Scotch, with that, even using that Holly pan that I think is a 302-2, a smaller oil pan, is still sitting up about 2 inches higher than my motor. So taking all that in consideration, it's kind of like, man, building one that, somebody could just buy and take it home and start doing all their own shit to it. That's where I'm still toying with. I got to have something that's universal there. So I'm not quite at that point yet. I could have took some of my downtime this summer, but like you said, I was enjoying it at Parker in Havasu. So
yeah, having a good time. What's Scott's plan with his truck?
To drive it, to go out and autocross with it and just have a badass truck that, he can do whatever he wants with. See, like originally we got done with his chassis, took it over to his shop, and then I started mine. I was in Hawaii, and as soon as I got back, like I just started gung ho, just took two pieces of rectangular tubing and just got to work. And I had the truck built and done in about 9 weeks, just doing it at night and on the weekends. But I had plans to go on power tour with mine. I was rushing to get mine done. Then I got in a car accident. I kind of slowed that one down, so that kind of killed that deadline. So my next deadline was the Brothers show in 2019. And I'm rushing, like I didn't even have the flatbed on it yet. I had the frame made, but I was like, fuck it, I'm going anyways. So it was this cab, front end, no bed on the back, just open chassis, was heading out. And I didn't check what jets were in the carburetor when I put it on. I was just kind of fired up. Everything was good. It was running. It was timed. I ran it a little too lean and dropped the valve on the way out there. So I didn't even make that show. So a couple friends of mine to give me shit because, I called a tow truck. They took it back to the shop, but I ripped the heads back off of it, sent it to Bill. He went through both heads again, put it back on there. We got the right jets in, and then I'd hauled ass, and I didn't have my airflow or air fuel gauge hooked up. Didn't have the O2 sensor in and that stuff. So as soon as I got the head back, put it all back together, I hooked that up so I could tell if I'm running lean. And I mean, you need vacuum and you need that, if you really want to dial in a carburetor. So got all my gauges hooked up. And if you looked at my truck, there's like 14 gauges in there. There's a gauge for everything. So I got all that hooked up, and I want to get on the road. Like I went up Pismo with it. I want to get on. That's what I really want to do, is talk about my plans. My plans is to do all the shit that I haven't been able to do with this truck and get it done. I've only took one road trip up to Pismo with the car club. And we had plans to go out to Texas. And I built this thing to drive across country, not just kind of like, to keep it close or trailer it anywhere. No, I'm going to fucking drive it. Wherever I take it, play with it, I'm going to drive it.
Well, we do eastbound and down to the throwdown. You've got February 23rd, I believe, is when we'll leave. So that's a Wednesday. So the Cali guys will usually leave the day before and come down, from NorCal all the way central, come out to Phoenix, and then we all hang out for the night on Tuesday night. And then Wednesday morning, I believe it's the 23rd, but we will leave to go out to Texas. So you're more than welcome to come out. We go out to LST. We roll Wednesday all day, Thursday all day. We get there and Thursday night. And then we Friday, Saturday hang out, Sunday hang out a little bit, and then beat feet and try to get back as, pretty much nonstop on the way back, which is Sunday night. We drive as, 7 hours, and then all day Monday we can make it back around 8 o'clock.
I don't know about that show.
LST?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's a huge show for sure. So a lot of you'll see a lot of people
in the loop of shows for sure.
Yeah, no, that's all right. This will be our 5th year of doing this run, 6th year of going to the show, and this is their 10-year anniversary. There'll be over 2,000 trucks. It's a good time. So I'll keep you in the loop on it. It's all social media, eastbound and down to the throwdown. We're going. We have a good time. It's gotten bigger and bigger from the first year we did it to obviously 5th year. And everybody last year, even though we were fortunate enough to have the get down this year in Phoenix, Dino's Chevy only get down, we were last year, the biggest show really was, or I should say 2020, because I feel like we're so close. Let's get out of this year. We went last year and we had no clue about, we kind of knew about the Corona. I don't think anybody really thought it was going to be, life changing, or end up being what it was. So we literally were driving out and you kind of knew a little bit about it. And then on the way home, you knew a little bit more. And then, dude, a week later, like the world started to shut down. So,
that's exactly how Pismo was. Yeah.
Oh, it was just like, oh, we're good. And little did we know that added to the adventure, that we got that in and made it happen. And for those of us, or any of us, or everybody who was thinking anything like, we did it, we're back, it made it really a momentous occasion, because we did it for 2020, and it was the only goddamn thing we could really do. I mean, I'm right here in Phoenix, so the get down worked out, but no Power Tour, no SEMA, no Brothers, no just, you know, all these shows that we wanted to go to. So I'll keep you in the loop. I digress quite easily. A few other things. Okay, so you've got some plans. Now, Scott's truck, I'm assuming, is that black one that's in it, black gray, and what is his social media?
He's on Instagram. He's it's Chappie Racing.
Okay, I got to check that thing out, man, because I see it in your pictures. And for my audience, I'll try to get more on that truck, Chappie Racing. He's got the LSX. You said he's got the 454.
He no.
He has the LS3.
He has the LS3. Jeff's doing the LSX. Him and Tina from Max Builder Friends.
Yeah.
You know, Max has bought some trucks from Scott, some off-road stuff. He was mainly kind of off-road stuff. This is kind of like his first venture toward tool drive, you know, square body stuff.
Yeah, Tino's the man. Tino's been out to LSD. Well, let's drag his ass out there. You can be our guy to get Max built Tino to get back out there. He hasn't been out in a while, so I guess when you open up your own business and you're so busy working, you don't have time for all the cool shit. Plus, he's got 2 young kids.
Yeah, it's myself, man. I just want to get out and do some stuff. You were talking earlier. So the walk around video that you see like on my YouTube page, that was for the Hot Wheels virtual tour. So my buddy Brian Scotto, he hit me up. He's like, "Hey man, you should enter this." He's like, "I love your truck." So I entered it, and they got picked. They got picked for their top 5. Didn't win, of course, you know, because he had Birdie's truck in there. He had like a lot of just insane stuff, and that's kind of what you want for Hot Wheels. But every now and then, you kind of want like just something cool, you know, like my truck just kind of looks kind of painfully average cool. And then they hit me up again, and then it was on the virtual tour contest again. So it went up twice, you know, out of a couple thousand, you know, I made the top 10s. So that was kind of cool. And that's all I've been able to really do in 2020 is like, I did another show with Hoonigans, with the president of my car club, Will Cochran at Dragon Knights. I built his 66 Buick Gasser, or 62. Shit, I don't even remember.
60s. It was a 60s Gasser.
Yeah. So he's like, "Man, eventually I want to chop the front end off and make it a straight axle Gasser." I was like, "Well, fuck, it's here in my shop. Let's do it now." So I just cut the whole front end off of it, ran him some rails, ordered up a Gasser kit from Speedway, and put it together. And he's been out drag racing with it. So our car club's the Dragon Knights. You know, I wasn't cool enough to be in separate ties, even. You know, Brett's a friend of mine. But
sounds like you're too painfully average, dude. Come on.
Too painfully average, man. So before we shot my Hoonigan video, we went up and did this versus that, you know, Hoonigan's new deal. So me and him hauled his car all the way up there, and it was the first episode. So we raced Larry Chin's 500 horse Toyota Supra with that Gasser. The Gasser, you know, cleaned his clock all 3 times. So that was cool. And then we got back, and then like 2 weeks later, we did my show. And that's really all I really got to do with my truck. I mean, I've made it to one of their burn down deals. I took it to Donuts Derelict once.
Have you done straightaway stuff with your truck?
Not so much, because like the quick change rear end I do have, because I'm not really a drag race guy. I mean, it will. They just they don't recommend you like button launching, you know, anything over 400 horse.
Just because you're gonna blow the rear end out of it, or what?
Well, with the quick change rear end, the pinion gear is facing the opposite direction. So when you drop it with all that power, all that torque, it wants to shoot it out the back. So they don't, I got the aluminum housing and stuff like that. So they kind of like, if you're going to do it, be a little easy with it. You know, it's like, they'll just neutral drop the shit out of it. You know, you might scatter the damn thing. So I have a true track in it, you know, for road course stuff. And that was my thing, was to do some road course stuff, autocross stuff. A lot of the guys in the car club, they like to drag race. That's their thing. And I help them out with their cars. And like for the one drag car I did build and help set up, it fucking gets down the track pretty good. You know, I'm used to setting up stuff to go in a circle.
Yeah, for sure. And the way you built that thing, it sounds like you'll be able to take that truck and not only autocross it, but, you know, some circle track, whatever you wanted to do, extension cords hanging off, maybe some extension ladders, a cooler. You know, you got to have that orange cooler on the back. It kind of contrasts to the flatbed. For my audience, make sure you check him out. It's Glen Dederick, Dederick, or Dederick. What's the correct way? Dederick, right? Dederick.
Yeah, Dederick.
Say it again.
Dederick. It's German.
Check out his social. I have a little note here because he's got some killer Christmas cards with his ass hanging out, and he doesn't give $2 is really what it is. So you got to check that out. I
gotta.
Maybe I'll repost that on a story. I don't know if I'll actually put that on my feed. Your roll pan versus bumper.
Yeah, that was. You know, I'm not ashamed of my game for sure. And the wife, she likes to do these my dumbass pictures from the year and make books out of them at the end of the year for Christmas. And yeah, just last.
So Glenn's ass is hanging out on the front of one of the. Well, maybe not hanging out, maybe hanging in, maybe kind of tucked in. But so if you could build, I'm gonna take you out with this one. If you could build a truck, what, you know, if I said here's all the money here, C10, whatever it is, what would you build right now? Like what's your 5-year plan for Dederick Customs, Dederick Fab, and what Glenn's got in the mind right there?
For me personally, another truck. I want to do a step side, kind of like my the first one I had. I want to do all the things I wanted to do to that truck when I had it, but didn't make money.
And that was an 81, so you could use your 82, right? You could use the cab and then just get a short bed stepper, or just buy one and then do that custom chassis the way you do it, or are you?
Well, I kind of want to keep that truck whole.
The 82.
Yeah, I've already scavenged enough trucks and mismatched enough shit. I want to try to keep the 82 one piece, even though it is a long bed. So that's what I'm trying to find. I was like, at one point, you know, I was hell bent on doing the step side, and I was even going to sell the work truck. And I had it up for sale, you know, just to see if I got any bites, you know, or trade with some cash for 73 to 75 step side for the son. But then I got out driving it again and farting around with it. I'm like, I ain't getting rid of it just yet. But yeah, I want to do a full blown comfortable race truck. Like my truck, everybody gives me kind of shit. Like, I'm surprised you didn't bring up I have those Razor seats.
Oh yeah.
So those things are comfortable as hell. I was at the Leduc swap meet, and you know, they're full size. They're not those little skinny Razor ones, you know, but they're for a Razor, and I got a good deal on them. You know, always bargain hunting. You know, that's a race car. That's a race car to me. You know, is like, you know, find what works, you know, and you can make it work. And I ended up buying some new seats from Brett Oaks that I'll probably put in there. But they're comfortable as hell, and they recline, and so just a really cool plush. I mean, my truck's got, you know, full stereo system in it. Like, because of the cage post coming up, I had to scoop the speakers back a little bit, those little pod deals. But I just want a comfortable, luxurious, full-blown race truck.
Yeah, I think another thing is you obviously have some 12s in there, so that's not a race truck-esque. But anymore with seats that we have, I see everything in a C10, everything from import to, like, the other one is that I see guys use is the minivan. It's a second row and like a Honda Odyssey or some shit. So So I've seen, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Whatever's comfortable and whatever will put your ass where it needs to be, then, we're okay with that.
Well, they were narrow enough, because you see my center console and how big it is. And
yeah, it's full of gauges. That's why.
all the shit I got in it. And so they're in the center. I got the cup holders and I got all the switches, but down there's all the wiring too. So needed some room, and it just worked out.
Well, you need to talk to Brett because Brett knows about LST. He actually tried to come out 2 years ago, I think, and they got snowed in. He also came out to Dino's this last round, and he was in the Big Beat competition. I don't think he ended up winning, but it's always good to see. He's a big son of a bitch, so he's you ain't gonna miss Brett, and you ain't gonna miss Brett's truck at all. So for the audience, that's the red slope nose crew cab with the huge sleeper on the back, and it's just full of speakers, and it's a killer ride. But yeah, he's had it out at LST a few years, and then I know 1 year they got snowed in. So Glenn, I'm going to take you out. Happy New Year. For my audience, go check him out. It's pretty easy. His social is just Glen Dederick and no underscores. He's got the YouTube. He's on Hoonigan. And then you're thinking the low life video. Are we thinking 2020, right at the beginning of 2021?
I think that's Mike's plan.
Okay.
I know we'll have another deal too on the 66. This 66 Toyota Stout on one of my chassis. We'll have that, and yeah, as soon as Mike gets his deal out, we had fun shooting that because I got my kid in it. It was fun, and we got to go out and do a bunch of donuts and have a little bit of fun. I almost took him out.
Took Mike out?
I almost took Mike out. Yeah, he was out there filming, and then all of a sudden I just started doing donuts, and he kind of ran up there, tried to get some close in stuff, and my wife was over in the background videoing. And she's like, damn, you came close to taking his ass out. I was close, maybe about a foot or two.
You might have to. I'm gonna have you send her clip to me, and then we'll post it when it drops to kind of help push it and promote it. So I'll pay close attention to that and have Mike tag us in that, and you do the same. We'll get it out to the world. Low life video, Hoonigan. Glenn, thank you so much. You guys check out his social. Easy money. Have a great New Year. 2020. Yeah. Hopefully we'll see you in February.
Yeah, I'm down for that for sure. I want to get on the road.
Okay, cool. This is our last episode, 204 for 2020, taking it out in style. Thanks, Glenn.
You're welcome.
Thanks again. If you made it all the way to the end, I appreciate it. And I just want to wish everybody a happy New Year. Happy 2021. Be safe out there. Late.